everybody. This is Lakeisha Matisse, representing Lakeisha Matisse Enterprises and Unique Art to the Power of Three, where we are working on rejuvenating, renewing, and reinventing ourselves because life is beautiful and it's worth living. So I'm coming to you as I'm on my journey to go serve, and I just had some positive action I wanted to talk about this morning. So as I'm on my journey of reflecting, it is very important to understand and to know, as I'm on my journey of reflecting, that when I I just had tidbits of information that come to me, and I'm thinking like, whoa, it's like sometimes it's like spurts of epiphanies that come my way. And it's because I'm being deliberate. Okay, I really believe it's because I'm being deliberate. I'm being deliberate about what I'm focusing on. I'm being deliberate and paying attention to certain things. I'm being deliberate and making sure that I am assessing myself, because I've already assessed the damage. And as I continue to go forward, I can see some other things that are being added, and I can start understanding from now assessing the damage. I now understand some of my ways, some of my thoughts, my thinking. I can now begin to do that. So it's very important to me to share information, since I'm not on this reset just by myself. I know there's other sisters and brothers out there who need the same thing, and I'm here to encourage you that this journey is worth taking. I really am, because this reset has really launched my life for the best. And a lot of times we don't want to focus on things for one reason or another, but timing is timing. But what I would say about that is really start getting deliberate with your thinking, because yes, timing is timing, but you got to be very careful, because who says that we have all the time in the world? Now, when we're young, we think that we have all the time in the world. I know for me, that was one thing that I always thought, oh, I have all the time in the world. And in actuality, I don't have all the time in the world. As I start to get to my this season in my life, I start to some telltale signs are starting to happen for one reason or another, and I'm starting to recognize it, because I'm not just ripping and running like I usually did. Now, back in the day when I was young, yes, I ripped and I ran, and I was able to get so much done. But some of it was busy work, and some of it was the busy work that needed to be done, because it kept me out of trouble. Not only that, I do have successes to show for that. But at the same token, some of the things that I was doing wasn't what I should have been doing. And I understand that, but I can't go back. And I asked myself this question this morning: do I have any regrets about the time period of my life, my young, early teens? Yes, I do, but I can't go back. And I asked myself again, well, what about to your 20s and to your 30s? Do I have some regrets? Oh, yes, I do. So then I asked myself another question. Well, what about your 30s to your 40s? And I say, oh, exactly. Yes, I do. I don't think there's anybody who can't say they don't have regrets about one thing or another, because life is a journey, and we don't always get it right. And not only that, sometimes we make choices and we think it's the right choice, but it's not the right choice. So it's not something that I choose to beat myself up about any longer. I just assess now where I'm at. Oh, I got some people parked all in here. And because I'm assessing where I'm at, now I'm able to figure out where I need to go. So I assess where I'm at so I can figure out where I need to go. And that being said, it just helps me to balance everything. So I'm working on balancing things. Oh, I'm going to tell you something. It is not an easy task when you're working on balancing. Because, before you even balance, you got to begin with, what's your vision? What's your vision? Where are you trying to go? What time? Where are you at? So where are you at? What are you talking about? Where are you at? Well, that just basically is asking, where are you at when it comes to, where are you at when it comes to what you need to be doing right now? What is most important in your life? What season are you in? I'm talking about quarters of your life, So third quarter, fourth quarter, where are you at? So once you can determine that, you can figure out, okay, so what's your plan? What's your plan? What are the things? So now you got to figure out, okay, I started off, I had to go back and backtrack, and I had to come up with Yes, I did. I had to assess that area too. It was just like messed up, jacked up. Things from my how I was brought up, or things from my past, or things I picked up along the way. Some of the stuff just didn't make sense anymore. It wasn't working anymore because at the part where I'm at in my life right now, I don't need that anymore. So I need to let it go. It's like a kid not needing a certain toy anymore, or a blanket, or a certain teddy bear. Some of the stuff we need to let go of. We need to. That's why it's very important for us to be always reflecting, assessing, and reflecting and figuring out. Okay, does this work? Is this what I really want for my life? Am I letting somebody else make my choices for me? Because for a very long time, because of peer pressure and other things like that, there's a lot of other people around us that are making our choices for us, especially when we feel the need to want to please, because we want to please others because we're trying to fit in, or they make us feel alive. So we have to be very careful in that instance. For me, I had to assess that area too. But lo and behold, the people who are not supposed to be in my season going forward, you can see the distance has happened. And that's not necessarily because I wanted it to happen. It's just situations came about and I had to really look at it for what it was. And, God is in the equation. So he started moving people one way, drawing them back, because when you go higher, not everybody is going to be able to go with you. That's just how it's going to be, simply put. And another thing I learned along this journey is I can't take everybody with me. And not only that sense of can't take everybody with you, you're going to the mountaintop. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to come back down in the valley as well. So everybody can't be on the mountaintop because they're not fit. And not fit, I'm not talking about just physically fit, because I'm working on that myself. I'm talking about up here. They're not fit. A lot of times we talk about, our youth and the things that they're going through and how it's so sad. But this is one thing I would say. When you know better, you can do better. When you have the information you need or the knowledge you need, you can really assess where you're at and you can figure some things out. When you're in life and you continue to go forward and forward and you're not taking time to stop and reflect, you don't know what your practices really are because you're not even thinking about it. You're just going through life like it's just what it is. Like things just pop up. You have no planning in your life. So how do you think you're going to be getting anywhere that you really need to go? So it's time for me, like I did, my value system was all jacked up from, like I said, living through other people and things of that nature. So now I had to revamp my value system and reintroduce it to my children and introduce it to myself, tell them what it looks like. There's certain things in my household, as I'm also resetting my household, that I got to really look at and say, wow, how did this come about? This is a mess here. And it's not like mess, a house of mess. I'm talking about mess within family relationships, as far as how the kids are interacting and how you interact with the kids. There's just certain things that you have to kind of understand for yourself and know. And for me, I had to really think about that, So for me, it's very, very important for me to do that. But I got on this morning because I was like, this is a beautiful sunny day in California, and there's just something I want to give, and I want to give some positive action to some people to let them know that you're not alone in this journey. Our tribe is here for you. Unique to the R to the power of 3 is here for you, because this journey a lot of times is very hard, and you're going to have to make new networks and have new connections of people who have awakened and are now climbing to levels that they know they're capable of climbing. I used to spin my wheels so much because I used to get a lot done, and I used to spin my wheels so much that I think about if I would have had the certain knowledge that I needed, and if I would have had the ability to focus myself and stop being so distracted, by all these things coming, and here I am just going. If I could have just focused myself, and I would have just been so much more, I was focused on certain things, but with the knowledge I could have had and the people I could have been around, I would have just been so much more set in my pattern of thinking already. So it's not taking me now, in my certain quarter to now say, oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up. A lot of times people don't ask you, what is your number? What year do you want to retire? If you want to have 2,500 coming in, then how much are you going to have to save up if you're retiring at 65, retiring at 70? I mean, all the math. We don't do the math because nobody really teaches us how to do the math or why we should be thinking in that way in the first place. I'm not talking about working for somebody and retiring. I'm talking about for us in general in life to be comfortable. There's many of us that we see our grandparents and their grandparents that at the end of all of it, that we find that the situation was happening with them is that they struggle, and then they depend on us, or they on social security. And if we're not set, how do we help them? We can't. Everybody's in the rat race. Everybody's struggling. And some people are waiting for things to come in. You know, they got SSI, they got whatever else is coming in to help them and support them. And it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. So therefore, we got to figure out who's going to take care of you when you're older. Who are you going to trust to take care of you? Are you going to have your money in case other people in your family don't want to do it? These are the hard questions we got to start asking ourselves. The younger you ask yourself these questions, the more you can set up. Who's going to pay for your funeral? Have you got something so you can help yourself, so you're not leaving that on your family? Oh, do you really want to be cremated? Or do you want to be buried? Well, you better make some plans there. You need to pay for your own stuff. You need to start figuring out something, or have a life insurance policy that you're keeping up to date. These things happen. We don't know if today is our last day. We don't know that. I don't know that for ourselves or for our loved ones. So with that being said, I leave you with, this tidbit of reflection. As I'm reflecting, I'm seriously thinking about all these certain things of how we need to really focus on what's important. And we need to start prioritizing, putting all the things that we do in our life and prioritizing, and start to readjust. Like, okay, this is number 5. This should be number 2. This is number 10. Why is this number 10? Really look at it and see if it's fitting for what you really want to do in your life. And if it's not, guess what? Change it. Change it. Change it. Change it. This is Lakeisha Matisse with Lakeisha Matisse Enterprises, representing unique art to the power of 3. Because when life knocks you down, you must make up in your mind not to stay down. Okay? You got to get up. You got to rejuvenate yourself, renew yourself, and maybe even reinvent yourself. Because life is beautiful, honey, and it is worth living. Check y'all later.